What's up, YouTube? It's Josh coming at you with my top 5 game collections I would buy if money was no object. Skull, 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 skull. So welcome back, everybody. Today I'm drinking a little bit of SlyFox Haze Fix IPA. This is a 5.5% alcohol by volume hazy IPA. It's got a little bit of citrusiness to it. It's not too bad. It's pretty tasty, really. This is brewed by SlyFox Brewing Company, and they are out of Pottstown, Pennsylvania. Not to be confused with Pottsville, where the delicious Yingling lager comes from. This is Pottstown. SlyFox Haze Fix IPA. Check them out if you see them in your area. It's pretty decent. So this video is based upon a community challenge that was put up by Yorkshire Lad. He threw it out there for everybody. He wanted to see what everybody would come up with to this challenge. Basically, he says, if money's no object, if you have bags of it, nothing else to spend it on, what would you spend it on for video game collections? Which collections, which systems would you want, would be on your list for that you could have, you could collect everything from it, the games, the accessories, all the variants of the consoles and controllers and different things like that. I thought it would be really cool to check it out and give you guys my list. So it won't be too long of a video, but you know, what the hell, I thought it was fun. So the first one on my list would be the PlayStation 1. The reason I chose the PlayStation 1 was because back in the old days when the PlayStation 1 first came out, I didn't have a PlayStation 1. I actually had an N64, and my roommate, I was in my early 20s, I had a roommate, he had a PlayStation 1. So we could play one another's systems, you know, in the household. It was pretty cool, it worked out pretty well there. But predominantly the N64 was mine and the PS1 was his. So I missed out on a lot of great games from that era. I know the PlayStation 1 was a heavy RPG system, had tons of those on it, and I do like RPGs quite a bit. But the N64 doesn't have hardly any on it. It's very slim. As far as console variations and stuff are concerned, I think predominantly you had the old original gray PlayStation 1, and then they had the re-release that was kind of like the off-white kind of grayish looking PS1 that was a little bit smaller. There was like a black console variation for that too, which would be pretty neat. I've never actually seen one of them other than in pictures, but that would be pretty cool. And it was around 1,300 games released for the PlayStation 1, so it would be pretty lofty to collect all those, and I know a lot of those are very pricey now, especially the RPGs and stuff like that. So the second system that I chose to that would be on my list without a doubt is a system that I have never owned, that growing up I never knew anyone who owned it. And currently the only people I know are people that I've seen through YouTube that actually own this system, and it's a Geo Aes. The reason that I threw this on the list is because, number one, it is a pricey system. The cheapest one that I saw recently when I was looking around for them was about $700 for a North American one. I think you can get them a little cheaper if you get a Japanese version, but I wanted a North American one because I'm a dumb American. So, but everything I saw on YouTube and the internet, people playing the different games, it looks like it's freaking awesome. It's no wonder it's pricey because, you know, it looks like a fantastic system. So not only would I be paying that much for the console, but the games are pricey as hell too. They're like $200-300 a game for these things. So that would definitely be a total wish list item. It's doubtful that I come across one of those that's in my price range anytime soon. So the last three systems that I chose for my list were systems that I'm currently really collecting for. They're my three favorite systems currently to collect for. The first one was the PlayStation 3. So I've probably got about 130, 140 games for the PlayStation 3, which is only a drop in the bucket because there was around 1,100 North American titles that were released for the system. The variations of the consoles are pretty broad too. You had the fat and you had the one that was backwards compatible, so you could play PS2 games. Then you had the fat that wasn't backwards compatible. Then you had the slim and the super slim. In Japan, they had different color variations, like a silver one and a white one. In the US, there was actually a gold PlayStation 3 that was made. There was only 3 of them ever made. They were made out of 1,600 grams of 22 karat gold. Now, in some other countries, I know in Germany, they had a 007 variant of the console that was made. Canada had a red console variation that was made. There's a few other ones out there too. It would be really freaking cool to own a lot of the different color variations of that, because the PS3 is actually, as I said, it's one of my 3 favorite systems, not just to collect for, it's just one of my favorite systems to play that I've really enjoyed since I've had it. The next system that I chose was the NES. The NES holds a place near and dear to my heart because it was my first video game system that was mine. Now, the Atari 2600 was the first system that I ever played. My dad had it, so I was a wee little kid. I played it. But the NES was the first one that I owned that was mine. And the NES had about 671 North American releases, titles for the system. I'm drawing some of this information off the internet, and I don't quite have it all right there. The console variations, though, they only really had the original square box or the top loader type of NES. But where they got it with selling the different variations, where they would put different things in it with them. So you had the deluxe system and stuff that had the Rob and the Zapper. And then you had your regular action system that just had the Zapper and the controllers. And then, of course, if you didn't have a Zapper, it was just the regular control system. They even had pack-ins with the Power Pad when they had games that came out for that. So there's so many different accessories for it too. Some good, some bad. Like the infamous Power Glove. I just love the system. If I could have it, everything, money was no object, I would. I wouldn't have any room for it, but I would. The final system that I have on my list is another Nintendo system, and it's another one that I'm highly nostalgic for. It hasn't aged as well as some of the old Nintendo systems, but the N64. The N64 had a ridiculous amount of console variants. There was about 18 to 20 different color variants, depending where you were looking around the world. They had like the Pikachu models for the Pokemon stuff. They had about every color you could ever think of. There was only 296 games released in North America for the system. So it wouldn't be, I know a lot of people do achieve this one. So this one is quite achievable to get even if you don't have a ton of money. But I just thought it would be really cool. I've got a couple of the color console variations now. A long way to go. Only 2 that I have. And I've got a various amount of the different color controllers. But honestly, if I had all the money in the world, that would be one of the systems I would pick up. So I just want to say thanks to Yorkshire Lad for throwing this challenge out. I thought it was really fun just thinking about it. I don't know if I really shot the moon compared to probably what I could have with certain things, but I kind of went with systems that I feel like if I had just the money to spend right now, like this is what I would definitely buy, because I just like these systems. So thanks you guys for watching. Definitely check out the SlyFox Haze Fix IPA. It's delicious. Leave me a like if you like. Leave me some comments. I love talking to you guys. I'll catch you next time. Cheers.